Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Experience Team's iteration video release video. Today is January 13th, and we'll go over what we've worked on for the last 2 weeks. First up is Jess. I believe Tina is reading for Jess today.
Yeah, I'll read for Jess. Jess made various updates to the Slipper Stigma file and documentation. She designed a new side panel to encourage free trial adoption on the login page. She worked on the SMB page where she suggested various updates such as linking out to related pages, adding a hero video, and cleaning up UI inconsistencies. And the last item listed here, she found and modified Unsplash stock photos to replace Gitlab team member photos in our various CTA blocks. And there are no show items here. So we'll move on to Tyler.
Yeah, so nothing to show in this, but a bunch of Google Tag Manager stuff. So I patched up, I had missed the almost there view in the free trial flow. So now that is instrumented. I added the add to cart enhanced e-commerce events on the pricing page when you like click to the purchase. So it's like nested clicks in. Updated there's a trial form where I had missed a trial group creation event, so I patched that up. I also patched up, this one's fun to say, so we added GTM tracking for GitLab export project imports. So if you're like importing a project from an existing GitLab export, I had also missed that event, so that's there now too. I just did a super quick refactor. I had forgotten to like move some feature flag stuff into before actions. And then throughout the last week or two, I've just had like some small MRs that I've like reviewed and merged. So we like added gzip compression to files on about.gitlab.com or back to it. There's some SEO stuff with meta titles, some, I changed the deploy jobs and buyer experience to share an image that we need for like patched like Google utilities. And then Dallas has been doing a bunch of stuff with free trials. So I just like click the merge button for them on that. And I think that's it. So Megan, you are up next.
All right. The majority of the past 2 weeks was like onboarding stuff. And when I wrapped that up, I worked with Nathan to find kind of a low stakes issue to work on. So I wrapped up an HR rendering issue in the www repo. It was a good way to get acquainted with that repository and getting my environment all set up locally. But Lauren.
All right. So I'm about to ship over my second draft of adding the visible script to our sign up pages in GitLab. And I'm going to ship over my first review of adding Google Tag Manager to the user tab settings in GitLab, and then a ton of MR reviews. That was my sprint cycle. Pass it over to Tina.
Thanks. I also did a ton of MR reviews. I continued to support the ongoing page migration to the buyer experience repo, basically just checking designs, making sure UI and UX is acceptable and consistent. I worked on my onboarding issue, nothing to show there unless you all want to see all my certificates and badges that I've completed. It's been a really great refresher considering I've been already technically working at GitLab for over a year. It's funny to revisit all this stuff. Doing onboarding issues twice is interesting also. And lastly, I started to get my head into the UX updates for the analysis page issue. I created a content outline for the requesting team members to review and populate because there were a couple issues for this page update with a lot of ideas, but no kind of document that tells us what is actually going to be on the page. So I'm a little bit blocked there, but I think that we'll circle back next iteration. Next is Laura.
So I'm finishing up some work on our Swift type search Google Analytics instrumentation in the buyer experience repo. It's currently live on the regular www site. Tyler made a good point about key up events instead of click events. So I'm just fixing that up. And those events are also working on our 404 page search, which is handy. because it's the same Swift type with the same class names. And I made some OneTrust updates. So now certain regions will also see the OneTrust cookie consent banner, including us in Canada. So those of us who are working in Canada in the review apps, you'll now see every single page a banner. So that is all complete. And next is Miguel.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Laura. I work mostly on the topics landing page. And next, I started with the CI/CD child page of topics, but I have to create a couple of custom components there. So it's still draft. And yeah, next one is Javi.
Thank you, Miguel. For me, what I worked on this iteration, I had an issue opened for Slippers v0 retrospective. Parker, thank you for asking the structured questions. I think it helped with getting some of the answers out. If you haven't added points and you would like to do so before the end of this week, because I'd like to add some of the points that we've talked about to the handbook, especially our Slippers page, because I think all of that stuff is really important. I have a draft for the navigation MVC4. I very much underestimated how long this would take, but this is something that Jess worked on for Figma, and so I'm doing this here. Things to know. So if I inspect, and if we go to class stuff, oh, I have to remove this one, but for the most part, all classes are no longer, yeah, if I keep going, like, we're using BEM. Slippers is no more for the navigation, at least on the www side. And so that's that. I'm trying to find my spot. And so then worked on card plate consistently. I wanted to show the review app. I had a lint error. Sorry. So I'm just linting, or I'm showing this changes to show that I did something. I swear. I'm also reverting 20 alert boxes on the docs for headed to the free trial. I have a whole issue talking about the reasons why I did that, but essentially the experiment did not pass. And if you are interested in finding out why, there's the issue discussing why. I have a lot of little chores in terms of removing things for the /analyst page, adding the Slippers UI template, adjusting Open Graph to work, and brainstorming stuff for more experiments to run on the free trial stuff. So up next is John.
Okay, so in this iteration, I work on the migration of more solutions child pages. So I work in the Kubernetes one, the open source page, and also the Jira page. Regarding the Jira page, I added AOS animations to the buyer experience repo. That is the same library that we were using on that repo. And also I'm adding a generic component taken from Learn page MR that I had. We are not going to migrate Learn page, but that component will be useful for us in the next iterations. So I'm working on that. And that's it. Next one is Daniel.
Yeah, for this iteration, I continue working on the migration of stage DevOps lifecycle. At last minute, Jessica shared me the new redesign that looks amazing. So extra work was required there. I needed to customize some components and also work on the migration of the child pages of stage DevOps lifecycle. That there is a degree of dependency on the parent. So I'm still working on that part. I think that's it. Next one is Mateo.
Okay, I fixed an issue with the sitemap, which was causing redirects. It was a small one, just missing some trailing slashes. Then I migrated a bunch of pages that share the same template with small variations between them, which is IBM, Google Cloud Platform, VMware Tanzu, Red Hat, AWS, and HashiCorp. And I am finishing up the partners landing page. And next is Nathan.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to create a retro one day just to go over what happened with Slippers V1. But in the short of it, I built out in Slipper or View 3, found out View 3 cannot go to View 2 because buyer's experience is on View 2. I tried to write my own like transpiler and try and do it myself, and it took too long. So now I went back to View 2. Anyway, that work's done. I tokenized Slippers with the help of Jess and Tina. So now we're no longer using like the actual color names or the actual, it's not semantic anymore. It's more like 100, 200, 300. So now if we change a color, we don't have to replace it everywhere. I imported the Slippers v1 package finally into the buyer's experience repo. It's only in an MR right now. So I think I'll do it maybe Tuesday next week. I don't want to do it before the weekend. And then I also globally set all the components and styles. So you won't have to import like the button, the container, or even in the SCSS file, you won't have to import variables anymore. They're all globally imported. And I replaced all the existing CSS variables in the buyer experience repo with the tokenized version. So there's a big MR there. I went through all the files in the buyer experience repo and replaced those. I think I got them all. It's going to need a bit of QA. So I think on that review app, when it's up and running, Tina, Jess, I'm going to need some help just to make sure that the headers are the right headings and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I'll follow up probably on Tuesday with like a big post and how we're going to go forward. But yeah, that's it for me. Yeah, I think that's it for the sprint release.
Yeah, thank you so much.